that lead us to a logically consistent approach across the object definitions. Task Builder Wizard makes the process of building a Mago.net vertical application easier. It offers an easy-to-use and easy-to-learn user interface, which helps us in the definition of our objects and in the successive phase of C++ code development. The Master Maker one-shot plugin can be used to create the image of a task build application in order to package it and then to deploy it to your clients. The actual Master Maker program is a standalone tool, which unfortunately requires a lot of user interaction. So we have decided to rearrange it and to supply a further IDE plugin, which allows us to produce a redistributable image in an almost easy and automated way. Along with the 3.0 version of the Task Builder platform, there will be other new available plugins in our IDE. A graphic editor for handling application resources, the Form Designer, about which I will speak in more detail soon, and the integration of the Localizer program, which is the tool used by Task Builder developers to localize, that is, to translate in foreign languages, their own applications and customizations. In the future, we plan to realize a plugin for the interactive design of worm reports, the Worm Designer. Until now, all the functions we use to create new reports or to edit existing ones are directly called in place, that is, without leaving the running application. This fact disagrees with our present philosophy, which leads us to believe that the IDE must be the container of all the customization tools. Hence, our decision to develop this plugin too. The IDE all by itself, without any external feature brought out by particular plugins, is not aware of what plugins will be loaded inside it at runtime. If an assembly contains the definition of certain attributes, and if it satisfies some fixed requirements, for example implementation of a specific plugin interface, it will be automatically recognized and loaded by the IDE. More in detail, the Task Builder design environment uses its own mechanism for the selection and configuration of the different loadable plugins. This kind of installation and configuration tool is able to receive notifications about the availability of either new plugins or of updated versions of those that have been already installed, allowing us to perform their download or to install them remotely. It's important to notice that the IDE provides a wide range of utilities and advanced components that can be used by all its plugins. From a functional point of view, this means that all of them act on the same logical schema, and with regard to the interface, they apply the same graphical style. Obviously, this fact helps the user to become quickly familiar with these tools and makes the learning process of new functionalities easier. For example, we have a kind of intelligent text editor, which is able to recognize the typology of the file being opened and to decide what specific syntax and semantic rules should be applied during editing. Besides some common editing functions that simplify read and write operations, such as syntax color highlighting, automatic indentation, or brace matching, this tool also provides an advanced auto-completion system, IntelliSense-like, which is capable of identifying and suggesting either syntax elements or certain value types, for example namespaces. Inside this environment we have also integrated the main software lifecycle functions of Visual Studio Team system. It's possible to govern the simultaneous access to source code just by applying the sharing policies promoted by Team System. Every save operation performed by any IDE plugin, that is the metadata checker or the menu editor, examines the current state of the file, and if it is necessary, it checks the file out before saving it locally. The Form Manager project is divided into two main sub-projects, the Form Designer and the Form Renderer. As I have already mentioned before, the Form Designer is a plugin of the Task Builder design environment, which allows us to edit application resources such as data entry forms graphically. As yet, these resources still lie within the application libraries. That is, they are embedded in the executable files that make up application modules. But now we become able to manage them dynamically through the Form Manager components. The Form Designer represents the tool which is specially studied for interactive design of these resources. The data entry forms can now be described by XAML files and can be modified through the Form Designer tool. By the way, it's not a chance that we have chosen to use XAML for resource handling. In fact, this is the declarative XML-based markup language used to define user interfaces for applications based on the Windows Presentation Foundation technology. WPF is a new graphical subsystem in Microsoft.NET Framework 3.5 for building user interfaces of Windows applications. This is certainly a good choice, since it will help us to exploit all the features of WPF in future times, and our applications will inherit advantages and benefits of this new technology. For example, WPF lets you define your own collection of styles, a so-called skin, to change the application appearance on the fly and to customize its layout without affecting its behavior. During the execution of a task-build application, the Form Renderer translates the SAML content of these resource files, edited with the Form Designer, into resources that can indeed be handled by the running environment. So we obtain the same form structure and look which we have gotten used to with Mago.net. Working with the Form Designer, we can make some changes in these forms without the need to modify the underlying C++ sources and without any code recompilation. Moreover, we wish to point out that the code of the Form Designer plugin is entirely written in C#, as well as the whole Task Builder design environment, including all the IDE plugins, whereas the Form Renderer belongs to the Task Builder runtime framework, which is written in C++. Well, thanks to the mechanism of dynamic loading of the application resources implemented by the Form Manager, what are the main things you can do? You can use the Form Designer in order to modify an existing data entry form, by moving, resizing, or even hiding some of its input fields. This fact means that you can change the form standard layout and the visibility of the input fields it contains. You are also able to insert new input fields in existing forms